The Game Time Network is brought to you by Matt Gaddis of State Farm, the official insurance partner of the Game Time Network. Whether it's auto, home, renters, or life insurance, Mac has you covered with trusted service and personalized support. So make sure to reach out to Matt Gaddis for all of your insurance needs. And we are also powered by our friends at Wire to the Nines. For specialists in low voltage install and repairs, if you need security systems, networking, wiring, or upgrades done right, contact Wire to the Nines at wiretothenines@yahoo.com. Big thanks to Matt Gaddis and Wire to the Nines for supporting the Game Time Network.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Game Time Podcast, or the Game Time Network, excuse me. Welcome back to another episode of Game Time After Hours. It is great to have everybody here. We are going to talk about Trae Young being traded to the Washington Wizards. I am excited to talk about this a little bit. It's going to be fun to talk about. We're going to get right into it. I want to start off with the standings. That's where I'm going to go first. You look at where these two teams are sitting. Washington is in 14th. Atlanta is in 9th. They are in the play-in. Atlanta is playing good basketball with Jalen Johnson. I mean, Johnson he's taken a leap offensively. Defensively, I think he could still be very much better. Washington's playing good basketball. I think they've been playing good basketball for a majority of the year. You're just not winning games. It's simple as that. I like how Washington has looked, and I love all the young guys that they've got. So when you add, and when you look at the trade too, when you look at this trade and you look at Trae Young for what he is, this is not a bad deal for Washington. And I think everybody, for Atlanta, this isn't about getting value for Trae Young. This was about getting Trae Young off their books to acquire Anthony Davis, which has been talked about for weeks. Dallas didn't want Trae Young, so what did they do? They got Trae Young off their books so they can go and acquire Anthony Davis. Now, I personally don't think Atlanta should trade for Anthony Davis if, and this is the one if, and I don't have Tankathon pulled up, but if I'm Atlanta and Dallas asks me for this pick right here for Anthony Davis, I am saying hell no. Anthony Davis at this point in his career is not worth that value and that pick. And Atlanta can't give up their own pick because it's owned by San Antonio. Now you do have Cleveland's pick, but that pick's not as valuable. That's not ideally Atlanta. You probably want to give Dallas your own pick because it's in a better spot, but you don't. You have Cleveland's pick and you have New Orleans' pick. Now, I don't know if there is a protection on Cleveland's pick or whatnot. That is to be, I really have no clue. But let's assume that there's no protection and then they can use that pick to trade for AD. That's the pick I'm offering up. You do not trade Anthony Davis for this pick right here, the third overall pick, or one of the top picks in the first round, I should say, because we don't know where that pick is truly going to land. Atlanta has a chance to be really good. I said very early in the offseason last year with the way Atlanta was building this roster, I said there's a possibility they could get into the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if that's a possibility anymore. That was me hoping Trae Young and Jalen Johnson could play together. Clearly that just isn't working, so you get rid of Trae Young. I'm not mad about that at all. Atlanta's doing what they want to do. Jalen Johnson's going to be a really good player, but if you think about this roster, and say they do get Anthony Davis and they give away the pick, and I'll scream at them when they get to that point. But looking at the roster, and if it's healthy, if it's healthy, Dyson Daniels, Ricochet, Jalen Johnson, Anthony Davis, and one of my favorite, most underrated centers in NBA right now, Nneka Okongwu. That's a defensive. That lineup defensively is insane, but AD's got to be healthy, and I'm going to talk about another healthy team in another video. I'm going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers and update the tier list. I'm going to record that video right after this video. The team I want to talk about is the Washington Wizards. I have been a very vocal Washington Wizards supporter since the start of the Game Time Network, and that is only going to continue because, man, I can't help it. I like what the Wizards have. I love Bub Carrington, love Alex Sarr. I love what Washington is building in the great capital. And for Trae Young, this is not a bad contract for Washington to work with, because you didn't lose anything. Corey Kispert's not that. He's an okay player. He's a good he's a good 3-point shooter. CJ McCollum is CJ McCollum. Trae Young could leave, and when you're Washington, you probably hope he doesn't leave, right? But if he does, you're back in that same situation with these young guys that are playing really good basketball right now. They look pretty good in the last couple of games. So when you're Washington, if Trae Young does leave, who cares? To me, who cares? You got the guys to make this roster better right now. And you've got the roster. Pulling this off for when you're Washington is amazing. It's a brilliant move. And I think a lot of people, there's no one that I see criticizing this trade, which is, I think, very cool to see, because there's always some type of negative thing when it comes to a trade. I don't think neither side truly lost here. I think both sides, for right now, we'll say it's fine on both ends. I don't think no one's going to come out of this trade a winner unless, Atlanta, let's say they do get Anthony Davis, or they don't. Say they make it to an Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, I guess you win the trade. But I think long-term, Washington can win this trade, because when you look at Washington, they're tall, they're young, and they're lanky. What have I been? I think I've said this about Trae Young on multiple occasions. I've said it about Luka. Put tall, lanky, defensive guys around your small, or in Luka's case, maybe unathletic, even though he's not unathletic, but you get what I'm trying to say. Mask the one flaw Trae Young has, and I think it can work. If I'm Alex Sarr, I'm licking my chops here. This is a great opportunity on pick and roll situations. Trae Young is another shot creator for this team. Bub Carrington's starting to figure it out. Trey Johnson is playing really well. Alex Sarr, that game earlier in the year where he gave Embiid almost 30, I was like, oh my gosh, Alex Sarr looks so good. I like this deal for Washington, and I think the Wizards are only going to get better as time continues to go on. I like what the Wizards are doing right now. I think the Wizards are doing a fantastic job in this moment in time. And look, if Trae Young doesn't play this year, because that's what the whole thing is going on right now, is he may not play. That is interesting, but I would assume he signs an extension, so we'll see if he does. But all in all, I like this trade for Washington, and I do like this trade for Atlanta. But Atlanta, I don't know if giving up whatever you're planning to give up for Anthony Davis is the right move. I hope it's not a lot. I hope it's not that first-round pick from New Orleans. But if it is, man, I'm going to have to criticize the hell out of y'all on when we go live or in this recorded format right now, because that pick's way too valuable to be giving up to the Dallas Mavericks. Way too valuable to be giving up to the Dallas Mavericks. You can't give that pick up to Dallas. You literally can't. That pick is going to continue to be in the top 5 or top 3. Right now it's in the top 3, but definitely top 5. So if you were to give up this pick, I really don't like that. I don't like that idea for Washington. I hope they don't give up that pick, or not Washington, Atlanta. I don't like the idea of them giving up that pick. I don't like it. I hope they don't. What this means for the rest of the deadline as we get closer and closer to the deadline is Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant, after now with this Trae Young trade happening, he may get dumped to a decent team. You look, because Ja Morant's kind of in the same stance as Trae Young. I don't think there's a lot of value, but it seems like the contenders, the reason I think Ja is going to be easier to trade, let alone just because Trae Young's contract was is in a weird situation. I'm not going to say a bad situation. The money's bad, but the situation's not. It's a player option. That's more of Atlanta's fault than Trae Young's fault. But anyways, I think Ja Morant could head to a decent situation. I really don't want to see Minnesota do it, but I think Minnesota's probably going to be the favorite to get it done. I've heard Miami as well. Miami, that's really not what I would hope you guys do, but if you choose to do it, more power to you, I guess. I think Minnesota's probably where he ends up. I don't know how much I like that for Minnesota. They need a point guard. Like if they want to have a shot at winning the championship this year, which I think they have a very good shot of doing, they've got to get a point guard. They've got to get a point guard. Mike Conley can't be your point guard. Rob Dillingham is not figuring it out. You got to go get a point guard. I don't know if Ja is that answer, though, but I do think Ja Morant is going to get traded at the deadline. And I've been saying this for months. I know Shams just put out the tweet like literally yesterday, but I'm fairly confident. If you ask me right now where Ja Morant's going, I'm going to say Minnesota. Maybe Miami is my second place. After that, I really don't know where he ends up. Maybe Toronto, because Toronto did offer for Trae Young. They offered Quickly, and I don't know what else, but I know Quickly was the main piece of the deal. Keep an eye on Toronto maybe for Ja. I said it in the offseason. I said them and the Clippers. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to make another video updating the tier list and talking about the Philadelphia 76ers as well. But that's going to do it, folks. Overall, if I had to grade this, I'm going to give Atlanta a C+ because this is probably part one to another move. So C+. I'm going to give Washington, I'm going to give them an 82.8. And if you know what that's basically, I'm going to give them an 82.7. So it's not a B, but it's almost a B, but it's a B minus, you know? So that's going to be my grade for those trades. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And thank you guys for watching another episode of Game Time After Hours. See you guys soon.